Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our first spring ELA Tech Talk, and it is titled Brain-Based Learning Principles to Revamp Your ELA Instruction. My name is Jamie Trujillo. I am moderating the webinar today, and your presenters, as always, are the wonderful Don Dutton and Montserrat Ollanadil. Now, before they get started, please make sure to put your name and your program name in the chat so that we can give you credit for your participation. If you have any issues with that, please feel free to email me at jamie@nmdelt.org, and I can help you out with that and give you credit. So with that, I will turn it over to Dawn and Montse.
Thank you, Jamie, for that introduction. Hello, everyone, listen live or online, and welcome to the first English Language Acquisition ELA TED Talk for this spring 2019 session. These series are designed to help English language learners and instructors in adult education programs throughout the state of New Mexico. Today, we will be talking about brain-based learning principles to revamp ELA instruction. We are very excited to be here, and we hope that you enjoy this presentation. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Jamie. Okay, everyone now, say it fast. Brain-based learning principles, brain-based learning principles, brain-based learning principles. I can't do it, but here we are. Jamie is our moderator these days, and we thought we'd add her picture for our spring series. She is here, and our emails are there. Please take note of those, and we are online 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, so anytime you want to shoot us an email, we might just respond to it. So take note of that. We're here to help. Next slide, please. And you are here to help also because your students are ready and you, the master, has appeared. I love this British Buddhist proverb. When the student is ready, the master appears. And our students come to us, they come to us ready. And you are the master, and we are here to help you master your craft. Let's begin. Montse, next slide, please.
Thank you, Don, for that transition. And before we start with this presentation and the 6 principles that we are going to talk today, let's talk about science, learning languages, and the brain. So I know this is a very colorful picture, and we just wanted to tell you what's going on when you are learning a new language. So there are 2 areas that are part of this process: Broca's area and Wernicke's area. So Broca's is in charge of the language production, and Wernicke's is language comprehension. So what's going, and they're connected, but they are quite fasciculous. So these 3 parts work together when you are learning a new language. So let's call L1 the native language, and the secondary language is going to be L2. So when you're learning, and this is all based on research and MRIs, and so scientists realize and been studying this, how people are learning languages by taking pictures of the brain. So when the native language, L1 and L2, are located in Broca's area, they realize that when people are adults and are learning a new language, L1 and L2 have a separation. There is a separation, a big separation between them in the language production area, located on the left of the screen. Then, when they were comparing language 1 and language 2 in Wernicke's, they realized that there wasn't a separation between the native language and the new language. So in other words, this means, and you can see this going on in your class, when you talk to a student in English, they will understand what you are saying or anyone is saying, but they cannot say the words. They cannot speak English, but they don't know. They will translate, and they will say the translation in their own language. But oh, there's some noise there. Sorry about that. And so the thing is that the comprehension is always easy. The problem is to talk about that. For that reason, the research says that speaking activities that incorporate movement are best for learning a new language. So in other words, there are 6 principles that encourage people to teach a new language and implement these principles in their teaching. So activities that are make your students interact and talk more are the ones that we're going to talk today. And these 6 principles also, we are going to try to align it to tech tools, because that's what we do with the NMDL team. We align content to technology. So please, next slide, please. And then we're going to apply this concept to a little activity that we're going to share with you. So we invite you to participate. So if you please go ahead and get a piece of paper, and we are going to draw. So I'm going to share my screen and show you, and please do the same, because it's going to be really helpful for you. So I'm going to share my screen.
So it's going to take us a second just to transition between my sharing the screen and Montse sharing, so that'll give you some time to get that piece of paper.
Okay, Jamie, can you see my screen now?
I can. Let me make sure that you're presenting to everyone.
Is it working?
Yes, it is. You're
okay,
good.
Perfect. So you guys, take your piece of paper and just be with me and just have fun, because this is going to be really a really good idea and a good help for you to follow the presentation. So first, draw, let's see here, just draw 6 squares. And in something like that, it doesn't need to be fancy, but just go along with it. So the first drawing that we're going to do, we're going to make a little camera. So that's the flash right there. Then the next one is going to be a mouth talking. So something like that. The third one is going to be a pencil. Right? In the fourth square, make a shoe. And if you feel that for you is better to draw a flip-flop or a high heel, just go ahead and do it. This is a little sneaker. In the fifth square, just please make a clock. And in the last one, make some doodles, just different shapes that you like. And yeah, so then again, follow the presentation, take notes, because we're going to talk about these icons represent the 6 principles that we're going to talk today. So I'm going to give I hope you can do that. Don't worry about being beautiful or no. You can make it nicer at the end of the presentation. And I'm going to go back to Jamie.
All right, so let me go back to sharing my screen.
We can see your screen now.
Okay.
And the first brain-based principle for English language acquisition has to do with that camera picture you just drew. Images are better than words, or the unknown author of the saying, "A picture is worth 1,000 words," really means that. So what does that mean? Puppies. It means puppies in your classroom. Who can resist a puppy? What we have read, what we have learned is that our brain processes images much, much faster than it does words. And we can use it to our advantage to help our students learn in a variety of ways. In the classroom, some examples here. Draw anything. Students are good at drawing, and when they're drawing, they're making something that's of value for them. And it's a whole lot of good things are going on when they're drawing something. So I recommend that you draw things when you can. Of course, this can be done as a tech, on a computer as well. Use pictures. People have lots of pictures on their phones. You can use pictures in a variety of ways. People can bring pictures. You can do an old school thing, look through magazines and get pictures that represent vocabulary words or feelings or sounds or jobs or a variety of things. I like sharing photos. Everybody has pictures on their phones. Somebody wants to show you where they work. You can understand better what their job is if they can show pictures of their work. Or, of course, people have pictures of kids and families and all that. Sharing photos is another good way to use images in your classroom. I really like the idea of safety signs and public information signs, and how colorful and shapely they are, how the shapes and the colors mean things to us. So you can ask students about if they can recall what they've seen on that day, and maybe draw. Maybe you could do this on the board as well, on the board in the front of the class, get students up. I like doing that, and also folding paper to make shapes. And you can make shapes that way as well. Next slide, please. Some things that I found online to help you add some images to your classroom. Of course, Google Images. If you have an Delta account or if you have a Gmail account, I'm pretty sure Google Images is free. It's really good, and there's tons of pictures there. And anytime you can use those in the class, I recommend you do that. Our favorite website, one of our favorites, we've probably mentioned this before, I know we have in this series of webinars, Skills to Pay the Bills. The YouTube link here includes 7 videos demonstrating workplace skills, and they're kind of goofy, they're kind of funny, they're easy to follow, really for almost any level English language learner, covering topics like professionalism, networking, communication, problem solving, and they're all short. We talk about attention span sometimes, maybe mostly we'll talk about it a little more, but we know that attention span is sometimes a problem. So I like videos that are this length. Those work for me. A great way to get students thinking, and without looking at the book, without being guided in any other way than here is a girl with a thought bubble next to her. You can Google thought bubbles actually and find things online. There are pictures like this. I couldn't help putting here this picture I found of a brain. What is a brain thinking? Now that's deep, isn't it? I might not use that in my class, but I might use, here's a girl, what is she feeling? What is she thinking? Students can write what they've learned in the thought bubble. Of course, it's always fun to put a thought bubble, next to a picture of a dog or a cat or something like that to get some funny responses as well. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Don, for that. So the second principle that we are going to talk today is talking is better than listening. And as you know, students should do all the talking, more than the teacher at least. So these are examples you can see under some examples of activities that actually promote, engage students in speaking. So a lot of interviews, storytelling, teach back, presentations, those are key. And we should be doing little talking, students a lot of talking. Next slide, please. So also with that, we found these tools that we use in our classroom just to encourage the students speaking. The ones that work really well for us and they are free and easy to use and a student love them is WhatsApp. That's number one. And also any voice recorder that you can find on your phone. But let me talk a little bit about WhatsApp, because that's something that I feel really strongly and really confident that is a great tool to encourage speaking skills and improve actually the English speaking skills. So students will record themselves and then they have to listen to their voice. By doing that they will listen when they are making a mistake or when they have to improve their pronunciation. This is a process that is very embarrassing in the beginning and students are resistant a little bit. However, they will improve right away after they do that exercise. And with that also, another tool that I use all the time following up the WhatsApp activity is students listen other accents, repeat and imitate the English, the American English accent. And this website called Forbo is very good to do that, and it's free, and you can share after they record. You can share the Forbo link. A lot of the recordings are available, slangs and American expressions. So it's very good, and also it's very contemporary. People want to learn real English, so this is a great website to explore. And again, WhatsApp is free, and you can use it in any mobile device, even in your computer. So we really encourage you to use it. And again, students should listen what they are recording. Next slide, please. So the third learning principle, and as you can see, please follow along the drawing that you just made, is reading is better than reading. So it's all about encoding and retaining information. So what's going on with the brain when we are learning is that every time that we learn, our brain is on fire and we are learning and processing the information. So when we are taking notes or writing down this process, we are summarizing the information. And actually, it's so much better writing on a piece of paper on your notebook than typing in the computer. So forget about typing when you are teaching English. The best way is to make them write all the information on the notebook or on a piece of paper. Then they will encode. This process is called encoding and into the paper. When the students actually, after 1 week or 1 day of writing those notes, they will really read the information. And this process is called enhanced encoding. So students are repeating that process and they are relearning again what they just wrote. So this is way more recommended than just typing in the computer. So you should help students to do it, and it's a great process because their body remember what they did, what they wrote. Next slide, please. So again, the tools that we've been using to support writing, as you can see on the screen, these are activities that promote writing. And the things that we use a lot are journals, correct and rewrite, brainstorm ideas in big pieces of poster paper around the classroom. Students will write, we go along. It's a great exercise. Additional to that, you should teach your students to note taking, because when they go to college, even though they will be using a computer, it's a great tool to teach them how to write notes, and like the old school way, because it's a great skill that we're not using any longer. Some of the tech tools that support writing and we use a lot is email writing, because it's a professional skill and also necessary for the 21st century. So what I will do in my class, I will make students to write an email first on paper, then typing. And all the corrections will be also made on paper, so they can do all the typing process at home if they feel comfortable with it. Google Docs, of course, is one of the best Google tools. It promotes collaboration. It's free. You can use it on a mobile device everywhere. So Google Docs is a to-go for language acquisition and writing skills. And Google Slides also, because even when Google Slide is a tool that will help you to present, students have to write what they're gonna say. So it's really a good exercise to combine all these tools and help students to encourage them to write a lot, so they can again write on a piece of paper, read and make that exercise so they can re-studying what they've been learning in class. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Monse. The next slide, or number 4 in our group of 6 here, is movement is better than sitting. And we all feel better when we move around. Our students are more active when blood's flowing through them, and there's lots of reasons why we want to move around. But how do we do it in class and maintain some kind of order and stay on track and those kinds of things? Some really simple things to do is I ask my students to stand when they are answering a question, when they're practicing their dialogue, when they're doing something like that. There's lots of reasons to stand. Go to the board often to write answers. I ask students to come up to my desk and get things, and I ask them to bring me things rather than pass them out. And it's just another reason to get students up and moving around. I like lineups. I like everyone stands up and lines up in the side of the room or in the front of the room by a variety of ways, by alphabetically or by height or by the length of your hair or how far you live from school, or a variety of things. Students that have to ask each other sometimes, like how far do you live from school, and then there's conversation that's generated from that to get students lined up by how far away they live from school, that kind of thing. And then once they're up, the person next to you or in groups, you can mix them up a little bit, which is always a good thing to do, and let them practice like that. I also like practicing the present continuous with all physical responses. Let the students do whatever they do. Just stand up, move, stand by the window, go out the door. And the question is, what are they doing? What is he doing? What is she doing? And let the class answer. Of course, it's always fun to get students up doing their particular sport that they like, or some other skill they might have, and ask students what they're doing. Next slide, please. There's actually a site that I saw that uses the old game called Mother May I, and there's a long list of vocabulary words, and it's not just one step forward or one step back or whatever. It's step sideways. It's put your arm on your shoulder. You can do a million things with it, and it's really funny, silly game to practice vocabulary. I love this saying in Edutopia by Donna Wilson: "Move your body, grow your brain." It's a wonderful thing to remember. Another way to get movement in class is have your students move around. Is to practice movement words. This site here called thedramateacher.com. It has this long list of words words that have to do with movement. So I love words like slither and shuffle and amble and stagger. Those might be advanced level words, but other words I think jump or bend. And then of course, touching your body parts has movement to it, and students you can ask what are they touching, or what, touch your knee, touch your arm, touch your nose, those kinds of things. But the movement words are a lot of great fun, and of course assessment is instant, right? You know pretty well, the student knows immediately whether they're doing it or not, and everybody in the room knows if they're touching their left ear or right elbow, that kind of thing. So there's a lot of ways to add movement to your class. Next slide, please.
Thank you for that, Don. It's so true. That is such a good exercise to teach students movement words. I love that. It's a great example of how you can use movement. So the fifth principle is called shorter is better than longer. So we all know that the attention span is decreasing the last years, and there's a lot of research around that. So as you see, we put in the presentation some pictures of it, and actually sometimes it's being compared to the retention span of a goldfish, which is our retention span nowadays is lower than a goldfish. So this means, in other words, we don't really know if the research is really true, but it's a good example to think about. Wow, we need to make things short. So, for example, another data number that was really important to share was that, in average, everybody who is checking in YouTube, you will find the average time that you spend looking for videos or watching a video is almost 3 minutes, even less than that. So this means, in other words, that you have to teach in short times. It has to be very effective. So short is good. And the attention span for an adult is between 15 to 20 minutes. So this means that we have to be teaching very effectively with a lot of engagement tools and make it really interactive. So everybody's having fun and the students don't stop. So next slide, please. With that said, there are some strategies that we use in our classroom to make the lessons short. So we will call her mini lessons. So you could break it down, your lesson, in 20 minutes of lessons. So for example, you have to integrate a lot of interaction, provide short explanations, change gears fast, be really engaging, and use different tools, use short videos. I will say max 5 minutes. Also speak when you're explaining something, just ask right away for questions and understanding. And some of the tools that we use to do this is, there are plenty, but maybe you already are way familiar with this, but it's always a good reminder that there are a lot of tools technology tools that will help to make your lesson engaging and short. And even though technology is the issue of why we are so all over the place and we are not paying attention, technology also is a great asset to teachers to engage and to make and deliver information effectively. So one of the tools that we use all the time for the last 2 years, I will say I've been using it in my classroom and the students love it. Even though I tried different ones, they still love in Kahoot, because Kahoot is a way that you're assessing and playing and teaching, and also students recharge the energy after they feel that they got it, they are having fun. You promote social emotional learning. They are skills in the classroom. They are being competitive, but in a healthy way. Nearpod is another one that is very good and is free. All these tools are free. And Nearpod embeds tools like multiple choices questions, also writing short, open-ended questions. So this is actually a tool that we recommend, because you can put all these activities together in one program, and is great. We totally recommend it. Another one that is becoming very, very famous and very popular is Edpuzzle, because even though when you find this awesome video explaining anything in English or any activity, if it's 3 minutes, you can make it 30 seconds and ask a question and make it more engaging. So use Edpuzzle. It's a great tool. It's free, and you can share with your students, and it will promote all these interaction and engaging activities. And last, and just to mention, you should have more breaks into your classroom. So for example, as I mentioned, doing a mini lesson and then having a 5-minute break is much better than teaching 45 minutes and have a 15-minute break. And students will love it. It gives you time to reflect. Students will move. So incorporate this into your lesson plan. It will make a huge difference. Next slide, please.
Is this for Dawn? Dawn, are you muted?
Yes, principle number 6. Sorry. Do things different, change it up, surprise your students, flip the order. There's a variety of things that can help you incorporate this into your class. Change seats, move around, give students a test of questions. Rather than ask for the answer, ask for the question. And pop quizzes aren't all that evil. They're sometimes great fun to show students that they really know things. If we've done our job, we want our students to feel good about it and be confident. Next slide, please. So here's somebody shaking something up on the right. It's just a reminder that the research tells us that our brain is wired to ignore sensory data that is predictable. I think we've all driven to work one day and thought, wow, how did I get here? So shake it up. If you're in a computer lab, tell your students to use the mouse with their other hand if you're using mouses. It's a funny thing what happens to your brain when you do that. Maybe practice brushing your teeth with your offhand. See how many people poke themselves with their pencil or something. That's a funny thing. Simple little things like that can affect the brain. Next slide, please. And as in a review here, the 6 good ideas, and this is the actual drawings from the training that Monse and I did in training from the back of the room by Sharon Bowman, whose work we have borrowed here today. And you can see who is artistic and who is maybe not so artistic. That would be me on top, stumbling through trying to make some images. I hope yours were better than that. But I hope that you also can, by drawing pictures, and remember that the key principles here to be better in the classroom is to use more images and let the students talk more, move more, write more, keep it short and succinct, and change it up. Next slide, please.
That's a great reminder, Dawn. And actually, it's true. I mean, we do have. That's why we made you draw today, because It's so important for you. I mean, I use my paper all the time when I'm doing my lesson plan to remember having a balance. Sometimes I will do too much of something, so it's always good to look that picture and say, oh, I need to balance my instruction. That's why I hope you follow along, and we name the 6 learning principles. And if you didn't have time to take notes, watch this presentation again or ask any questions. And talking about connecting and asking questions, please, let's keep this conversation going. We had such a good time preparing this TED Talk for you and to researching about these topics that are actually, they are a game changer. I mean, they change all the instructions, they change the conversation, and actually they are changing our professional development. So if you would like to connect and ask questions and share your ideas, please join the group. We have an ELA instructor in New Mexico group on Workplace. This is a group that we are trying to build with other instructors in New Mexico, and we would like to connect with you. So if you have any questions and if you would like to be part of this, please email us. Our information is going to be on the at the end of the presentation, and send us an email and we will give you the instructions. Next slide, please. So thank you for listening today. We had a lot of fun, as I mentioned. So we are the New Mexico Distance Education Learning Technologies. We provide training, support, resources, networking opportunities, and professional development. We are also available in social media, so please find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and we would love to connect with you. Next slide, please. So perfect. If you have any questions, please.
And right now, we don't have any questions, but there's definitely time to write in questions if you have any. Nancy Alvarado did have a comment. She said that she has her students draw, and then they take a picture of it and email it to her so that she can project the picture.
Wow.
So she uses technology in a lot of ways.
Nice.
Nice,
Love
Nancy.
it.
Thank you for that. It's pretty good, actually. It's a great example of how to how to connect all these pieces. Great. Thank you for sharing that.
And while we're waiting on any other questions, I just want to note that there is a survey to please fill out. The link is in blue on your screen. I cannot put the link in the chat, so I apologize for that. YouTube won't allow that. But that's why we're leaving this screen on for a little bit, so you can copy this link down. If you're watching this video passively after the fact, you can hit pause, write down that link. Please, please, please fill out the survey. Dawn and Montse would love to hear from you about how you felt this webinar went, so it will help them to build on their webinars in the future.
Thank you for that, Jamie.
Thank
you, everybody, for listening. And please join us next month. We're going to have another topic related to brain research and revamping instruction. Thank you for joining us today. And please email us if you want to be part of the group and if you have any questions. Thank you for being here today. Thank you, Dawn. Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you all so much. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Did you stop, Jamie?